When I say loneliness, I mean proper, crushing, bitter loneliness. So there's something that I need to talk about. I briefly covered it a little bit in my Why I Left the UK to Slovakia video, but I think I haven't spoken about it enough in detail, especially in regards to moving abroad. And that's the hardest part, in my opinion. Loneliness. So in this video, I want to share what loneliness really felt like for me, how I dealt with it, and honestly what it taught me about myself along the way, that I'm sure I never would have experienced or realized about myself if I stayed comfortable and stayed in the UK. So let's start with it. Let's get real deep and get straight into it. The reality is, when you're moving abroad, at first it will feel amazing. You'll have the honeymoon phase, like in relationships, where that first experience, that first while, it feels exciting. It feels amazing, right? You're getting to know each other and you share something with someone. And you both have that love for each other and excitement at this possibility and this new relationship, this new thing. So you're both really excited and want to see where it goes. But then, like in relationships, after some time, you get a bit used to it. It can become stale, or you become comfortable. And that's when reality sinks in. It's the same with moving abroad. After the honeymoon phase, then the reality of your decision starts kicking in. And for me, that came, I remember one Saturday night where I wanted to go out and do something. I wanted to meet people. I wanted to, socialize. And I couldn't. Well, I could, but I didn't know anyone. So, yeah. And that's when I had this realization that I can't call anyone. I can't message anyone from Slovakia that I know to meet up because I didn't know anyone. And just seeing online my friends back home, just having good times and meeting up and different things like this, it made me feel even more lonely. So it made things even more difficult. Even though I was visiting and exploring different areas of Bratislava, and even though there was plenty of areas where it was really busy, like Old Town. But even when you're surrounded by plenty of people, you can still feel incredibly lonely. You can still feel invisible if you don't know anyone. And that's how it was for me. And to be honest, this phase was incredibly difficult. And at many times I did contemplate whether I was making the right decision and whether it might be worth going back to the UK. And to be honest, this phase lasted longer than I would have liked and that I hoped for. At least between the first 6 and 12 months. Yeah, quite a long time. But it was swings and roundabouts. It was peaks and troughs. It was a roller coaster during that time, where sometimes it was better than others. But for sure, it wasn't an overnight thing. It wasn't a short-term thing. It lasted quite some time, where I was feeling really, really lonely. And with that, I really try to make the most of things. And it's very difficult when you move somewhere new to try and figure out what to do and how to fill that void, I guess. And for me, I was binging YouTube, going on social media, scrolling everything, trying to numb and distract myself, trying to numb the pain and distract myself rather than figuring out how to solve the issue. I remember dreading weekends. Yeah, it sounds crazy to dread the thought of a weekend where you have loads of free time. But this is how it was for me because I didn't know anyone and I just couldn't have plans. Like I would be alone, so I didn't really know what to do. And it was such a difficult time. And of course I had the language barrier. So it made even casual interactions really difficult, such as where you can have a little conversation even with people at cashiers or anything. You go to a grocery store or you go to a clothing shop, whatever, and you want to have a little back and forth chat. It's made even that difficult. Yes, a lot of people in Slovakia and in Bratislava, they do speak English, but when you're wanting to integrate and you want to become a part of the society, you want to become a part of the country that you move to, then it's much better, obviously, if you can interact and speak in the language. So I think this added an extra layer of complexity to my journey and why I probably felt even more alone. But then I remember it got to a point that I just couldn't do it anymore. I remember on, I believe it was a Monday or Tuesday evening, I was thinking about the weekend and thinking, you know what, I can't deal with another weekend where I do not know people here. I'm a very sociable person. I like to talk to people. I like to engage with people. I like to interact with people. And so I just couldn't bear the thought of another weekend going by where I didn't know people. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to start trying to make the change. I'm going to start putting myself out there, getting out of my comfort zone and trying to make things happen, right? So I decided I would go out that weekend. I believe I went out on the Friday and I decided to go to an Irish bar. Yes, an Irish bar. I'm sure you probably know it already, but Irish bars are the perfect place to go if you want to just chat with people, interact with people. It doesn't matter. They can be locals, they can be tourists, whatever. It's a great place to have a laugh and it's a great place to socialize. So yeah, I went to an Irish pub and I decided to go when there was football so that I knew even if worst case scenario, I don't manage to speak to people or it goes badly, then I at least can watch the football and, you know, I'll have a pint and then go home. Whatever. Hopefully it'll be a good match at least. But yeah, so I ended up getting there on the Friday and seeing, okay, it's packed. There was a lot of people here, so that's good. That's good. But one problem, there's nowhere to sit. All the tables were taken. So I ended up seeing that there was one table where there was 3 people on already. And I thought, there is space on that table. Why not just ask? See if you might be able to join the table and go from there. So I did. Yeah, I had to pluck up the courage, but I went for it. I asked if the other seats were taken, if I could maybe join them. They let me. And yeah, I didn't speak right away. I decided, watch the game, don't speak straight away, and then try and eventually ease into the conversation. It went a little while, and then I was just thinking, you know what, man, don't let this be another missed opportunity. You're in the perfect scenario. This is the perfect opportunity to just pluck up the courage, go for it. So I did. So I just said, are you guys visiting? So I hope you don't mind me asking, but are you guys visiting here or are you living here? And they responded. They actually told me that they were visiting, right? And they told me that they were exploring European cities, the capitals. They were going around a few different capitals. They had already been to Vienna, they had been to Prague, and they now wanted to see Bratislava before they move on. And they told me that they're actually leaving the next day, but they wanted to see what Bratislava is about. And yeah, they just decided to go for a pint, saw the nice Irish pub and thought, why not? So this is an interesting thing. I ended up having a good conversation and a good laugh with these guys, and we were just watching the football and just having a good time. And this is the funny thing, like, if you just put yourself out there, you'll get to meet people, get new stories, and just find out what other people are doing in the area. And it's just a nice way of getting to speak to people, right? Without any pressure. Okay, these guys didn't need to talk to me, and they didn't need to stick around. And as they were just visiting, there was little pressure. It doesn't matter if I muck up, right? If I say something stupid, I'm not going to see them again. So who cares, right? So this feels kind of good that if you go to an Irish pub or something like this, it's a less pressure. A lot of people are there just to chill and have a good laugh and a good time. But mainly it's tourists, right? It's not people who are living there. So that was a good starting point for me. And then slowly from there, I started building, right? I put myself out there a little bit more and just decided to start making conversations with people. And it got easier and easier. But the problem was I still didn't have friends because mainly they were people visiting, right? They were tourists. So at this point, I decided to go onto Facebook. Yes, Facebook. I saw there were some groups on there. Specifically, there's a Foreigners of Bratislava group, which I decided to join and make a comment on. yeah, I decided to go all in and make a post. I basically put myself out there and just said, this is the situation I'm in. I moved here. I don't know anyone. I've been here a little while and would love to meet new people here, And yeah, if anyone's up for it, we can meet here at this time, blah, blah, blah. Let me know. And you know what? At first it was horrible because I was just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for someone to respond. But eventually people did respond, and eventually we even had a meetup. Yeah, so I ended up finally meeting some people who lived in Slovakia, some people who lived in Bratislava, and they were actually in a similar position to me. They didn't really know people either, and they had been in Bratislava for some time. And it was the step I made that made them think, you know what, screw it, I will go, I will do that. And this is the thing, a lot of people will be in a similar position to us, but not make the move to try and change it. So it made me sort of realize that, damn, I've changed a lot. I've got more courage. I've got more strength. I put myself out there more. I take more risks now. And these are different things that I started to realize about myself, is that I developed more confidence. I was able to talk to people even more confidently, better. And I would take these risks. I wouldn't be scared of social anxiety so much, right? I think in the UK, I would have just kept doing the same old thing. I would have kept having my friends, but not really putting myself out there. And the thing is, when moving abroad, it forces you to put yourself out there more. Because unless you want to stay lonely and not know people, you're going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to take a risk and talk to people. So yeah, I'm so glad I moved to Slovakia and overcome this loneliness phase, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not completely gone. I still do get loneliness at times, but it's got so much better because I've developed these skills through it. And it's taught me how resilient and strong I can be. And if you're wondering, we still do meet up occasionally. We did. I even created a WhatsApp group with this group of guys, with this group I met up with, and we still meet up, and I still remain in contact with quite a few of them as well. With this, in terms of other skills and everything I learned along the way, is it built real confidence, right? Because I didn't need to worry about external validation. I didn't need to worry about what people thought of me or anything like this, or a preconceived idea of me, because I'm in a completely new country. People don't know me here. So I could just be my authentic self. I could just be myself without fear and worry that whether people would like me, or that I would, rub people up the wrong way or whatever. Because I was going into it with not having any friends and not having anything, there was a high reward, low risk, right? Because worst case scenario, I just look like an idiot and leave and then still be lonely, as I already was. So why not put yourself out there, look a fool, but you know what, maybe make a friend or two. So I genuinely am so grateful to all the people I've met and this journey that I've had. And I truly do think it's not easy, but it's well worth doing, and I'm so glad I did it. And I want to say that I, by all means, did not conquer loneliness. Whilst it's got a lot easier for me now, I'm used to that weight. It does still hurt and hit you sometimes. You still do think that, I wish I knew more people here, or I'm lonely, I'm bored, I don't have any plans. And that still happens to me sometimes. I mean, some of my friends that I did meet along the way, that I made along the way, they've left. They don't live in Bratislava anymore. I still remain in contact, but they've left. So now, if I don't have a meetup planned or I'm not doing anything, there will be occasions where I feel lonely because I'm not doing something. I don't have plans, or I'm not meeting up with friends anymore. So it doesn't go away, but it gets a lot easier to manage. Ultimately, I want to say my relationship towards loneliness has changed. I know it doesn't control me anymore like it used to. And I want to say that don't worry if you're in this loneliness phase and you're really struggling, or that it's too much for you and you need to leave. That's totally fine. At the end of the day, these are challenges for us. And either we can live with them and we can deal with them, or we can't. And it's totally okay if you can't. This is one of the hardest, if not the hardest. Actually, it is the hardest challenge I've had to deal with, especially with moving abroad. The loneliness has been one of the most difficult things I've had to deal with in my life, because it forces you to deal with discomfort. And you have no social net, you have no safety net around you. You know, the close people you have with you are miles on miles away. So if you're in this lonely phase right now, I want you to know that it's normal. You're not failing, and this is perfectly normal. I've been through this process and many others before us have as well. It's all part of the process of moving abroad and moving somewhere new. I know it's cliche, but it does get better. It gets easier. Because you will become stronger and you're able to deal with that weight of loneliness better. So I want to know if you've been through this yourself, drop a comment below. Let me know about your experiences and how you dealt with it as well. I genuinely love to hear about it and how you dealt with things, because this stuff isn't talked about enough, and I think more of us should have that open discussion. And if you want to see more honest content about what it's like living abroad, not just a highlight reel, then feel free to subscribe, because I've got plenty more real talk videos coming. All right, that's enough from me. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this video has been helpful, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.